Hello everybody, John here, and today onto the garage we're going to go sort out my Freelander 2 again. Hi everyone, regulars to the channel will know that I've had my Freelander 2 Metropolis, and it's an SD4 for those who are into that sort of thing, for quite a while now. When I first had her, I did report that we had a couple of issues with lights popping up on the dashboard, errors, and I did a video or two on my initial attempts to sort them out, involving tyre pressures, connected to the Haldex unit, and all appeared well. However, those lights are back. They did go off on one occasion in recent drives, but mainly every time you start it, they're there. Turn the engine off and on again doesn't seem to do too much. Just to be clear, this wasn't a cheap car. I paid top money for it because condition, because model, because I wanted this car. And it is fully warranted. So as soon as my investigations get to a point where anything starts to look parts expensive, somebody else is going to be doing it. But as you know, I'm handy in the garage, I'm intrigued, I'm interested, so I'm going to carry on my investigations a little longer. And today I'm going to work on another theory, which is I know that the faults I'm getting can be thrown by a low battery. Now my car has a brand new battery, as in I put it in there, and it wasn't a cheap battery. So I don't think the battery is low. However, the weather has been quite cold. I think the glow plugs are past their best, which means it takes more effort to start it. And when it has started with no lights and they've stayed off then until I've killed the engine again, it has always been on a really nice day. Now, it could be complete coincidence, but it leads me to believe voltage levels. And these are very similar to Jags, which I know rather well, of the era, in that they are very sensitive to having the correct voltage and a really good battery. So today what I'm going to do, fire her up, see if I can show you the lights again. I'm going to pop her in the garage. I'm going to take the battery off and put a trickle charge on it overnight, see what happens there. But I'm also going to do some experiments with the earth lead, which again, like the Jags, does seem to be a bit of a weak point on these cars. And if I charge the battery, play around, put it all back together and the lights go off, that tells me it's purely voltage connected, whether it's the battery or the earth or anything else. So let's have a little go. Keyless start on this. I've got a tiny little cubby there, which serves no purpose other than somewhere to prop the keys up. That's where I put them. Let's position you so you can see the dashboard. The process is put your foot on the foot brake, press the start button and then let go of it and let the car do its thing. Nice clean start. It's 8 degrees, as you can see, and straight away special programs are off. Stability control not available, driver with care, gearbox fault, and coming up, HDC not available, system fault, stability control not available. Now I'm confident all of these systems have not broken simultaneously, which gives me the warm fuzzy feeling that, yeah, there's something basic happening here. We've also got the traction control, I believe, light down there. And this is a position that I find myself in most days. So here we are under the bonnet. Clean but dusty, how I would characterise it. An interesting white scuzz. My bonnet liner. Not quite sure where that's come from, but we'll deal with that separately. These cars have all sorts of systems. You can put a drain on the battery, so we've got the see your home headlights, pretty standard on a lot of cars. We can hear the throttle body motor running. a few other systems underneath the bonnet, and it does take a few minutes for any of those to shut down, which is normal. The headlights have just gone off now. But while we're waiting for everything to go quiet, I'll just take a few covers off. Decided the first thing I'm going to do is give the battery a good test in situ. Get my battery tester out. If you've not seen this before and you're interested, I've got a video all about this. It's brilliant. A Topdon, or is it? It's got a number. A BT300P battery tester. There are other battery testers that do all the same things, but this has got a built-in printer, so I adore it. Don't need instructions with it, it just is superb, basically. Right, so let's plug our positive on very securely. Let's plug our negative in very securely. So it's saying 12.5 volts, which isn't fabulous, but it's okay. Okay, so I'm going to select battery test. And it asks what type of battery it is, regular flooded, yep. Then what standard I'm going to quote, well on the top of the battery it's got EN and then 800, so it's the EN standard, which is pretty standard in the UK. It's an 800 amp. There we go, enter, and she's away. Good battery, 100% healthy, 83% charged, internal resistance of 12.9. Okay, and I can press print. And this will give me a little printout. Press exit. We go on to the cranking test. Enter. Please start the engine. So I'll disappear. And it tells us it took 2.13 seconds to start, which is, I think, slow, but it says it's normal, it's okay. And it had 10.14 volts. So I'm still getting a green on that. Let's come out, let's do a charging test. Start engine, we have. Enter to continue. And it's showing what's coming out of the alternator. Increase speed to 2,500 RPM and keep it there for 5 seconds, then press enter to continue. Back in a mo. Enter. Charging is normal. Loaded 14.73, unloaded 14.74 with a ripple of 26 millivolts. That's how much the charge alters by. If it was very, very ragged and it was bouncing around, then the alternator is maybe on its way out. Next, I've got my basic multimeter. The LCD display really doesn't show up well on this camera, so you have to trust me. I'm just going to do a comparative reading straight onto here. Voltage 14.89. So 14.89 with the engine running. Straight away afterwards 13.1 and dropping down 12.9, 12.8, 12.7, and again you can hear motors running in the background, so it is consuming some power. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to check the motors have just turned themselves off, so that's convenient. I'll just do another check now. There we go. 12.65, 12.7, 12.71. It seems to have stabilised around there. So I'm going to check resistance, and I want to check resistance from my earth terminal to earth on the car, and I want to do it to this suspension bolt. I'm currently, again, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this at all, again, I'm sort of alternating 7 to 10 ohms, and that will probably be down to my cables, probably be down to my test cables, and maybe not the best of connections on this bolt head due to coatings. Yeah, down to 3. That seems rather good. What I'm going to do, got that down to 0 then for a moment. I mean, there should be some resistance. It's not going to be perfect. What I'm going to do now is just move the earth lead. Earth lead does not appear to be faulty. Now, on my XK8, if you do that, you get quite a fluctuation, even though my lead is in decent nick. So it's always worth a little test, this. So it appears that's got a good earth. Just going to go back now, because it's been a couple of minutes, to voltage. And let's have a look what we're getting. 12.7, so it really has stabilised around the 12.7 mark. Next I'm going to just do a quick check with my obdII reader. So there's my gadget again, there's a video on that for those who are interested in the toys. The obdII connector on the Freelander 2 is out of sight, but if you reach up above the throttle pedal on a right-hand drive car and feel around enough, so it's really not positioned for ease of location, if I'm honest. Found it. Yeah, I would say it's about 40 mil back from the bottom edge of the trim, and it's running left to right, so you might miss this bit. Please check connected and ignition on. Ignition on is achieved by just pressing the start button once quickly without your foot on the brake. Let's now go obdII, and it should find it about the third one down, I think. Yeah, there we go. Read codes. Read the ECU number 1. No fault codes. Excellent. Exit. Go to ECU number 2. Vehicle has no fault codes. Exit. Let's now go back. Let's go back to the scan of the restraint systems. So brought up a couple of menu options. ABS control module. Yes. Read fault code. Lost communication with differential control module rear. Status current. Let's try the restraints one. Lost communication with body control module, current. Again, could speak of dodgy connections, could speak of low battery on startup. So, nothing obvious. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the battery on a trickle charge on my Jaguar's tender, see how that helps it. And if I start this up tomorrow and there are no lights, it's definitely voltage related. Okay, so I'll hook that up. Okay, I expect this to get up to about 5 in a couple of minutes, and then hopefully it'll just give it a top off. I can see if it is voltage related by tomorrow morning. Quite ingrained, whatever it is. See if I can find some sort of very mild detergent to dab on it. The trouble is, if you work this stuff too hard, you just take the black flocking off. Well, good morning everybody. It's the next day and Purdy spent the night outdoors. Let's see how the Freelander's battery's getting on. Off camera last night, by the way, I jacked the car up on the ramp, had both rear wheels off because I'd got a very slight scraping sound, I guess you call it, coming from the rear brakes. Turned out one of the slider pins had seized, so it wasn't retracting properly or flat, so I just had to break that out using some penetrant and a big spanner. But yeah, lubed it up, good as new and practically unmarked, so I don't know how that had seized itself. Anyway, this has been on charge overnight, and before I even left the garage it had gone into mode 7. So that has been trickle charging for, let's think, I did that job at about about 2 or 3 o'clock yesterday. It's now, I said good morning, it's 11:45. So yeah, it's been on good 18-20 hours. So let's disconnect things. I'm going to put my battery tester back on. And the first thing is it's showing 13.59. Good. EN still on 800. Battery voltage too high. Remove surface charge. For example, turn on the headlights. Interesting. Well, I don't want to do that because I want to start it absolutely fresh for my experiment. So I'll quit this and retest it after I've started the car and driven it a little bit. So you know I left the windows open. I always do that if I'm working on battery or maybe taking a battery off a car, because you never know when things are going to lock themselves. Right, let's just position you so that you can see what's going on. So first I'm just going to press the park brake and pull the handbrake, because I've had the handbrake off to do the rear brakes. So we're back on now. Okay, pressing on the foot brake and we'll start. Now, special programs off, stability control not available, HTC not available, stability control not available. So I think we've ruled out the voltage. Well, that's a bit disappointing. However, might need a few miles to reset. Whenever you've done any brake work, always give your brakes a good test before you plough into the road. Again, just braking a little, because I've had the brakes off and had the handbrake in the service position, which I'll talk to you about another day. Electric handbrake. Really is a very nice car to drive, the Freelander 2. You've got the high driving position, relatively, of all Land Rovers. A decent degree of plushness, let's say, and quality to the interior. Not quite Range Rover, but nice. And nicer than some Range Rovers, depending on which particular model you're looking at. It's very lively and darty, not like a hot hatch, but equally not like a big 4x4 barge or SUV. And other than a little bit of wind noise because of the size of the mirrors and the squareness of the vehicle, it's quite a quiet drive. Obviously I'm lucky I've got an SD4, which is the top of the range for the 2.2 diesel, 190 horsepower, and I've got the automatic gearbox, so probably the nicest combination. but I would imagine all of these drive rather nicely, if not quite as lively. Without its special programs running, the trick 4x4 part of a Freelander 2, it's predominantly front wheel drive, but the rear wheels will kick in as and when required as traction diminishes. So again, it's not a real worry just at the moment. It's just something that I want to be right rather than a pressing and urgent need. So I'm thinking maybe my next step, having already checked that the wheel speed sensors are all working using live feed from my obdII, my next step might be to get it to an independent Landrover specialist and get them to do a diagnosis, and if and when they discover the real issue, if it's modules, I'm not really interested in trying to buy the right one, so I'll move it over to the warranty. But I will give it a couple of days, because there is a outside chance that now that the battery is in tippity top condition and the weather is a little warmer, it may learn that there's no issue and lose the faults. Remember, there was 2 fault codes about communication with the diff and gearbox, which I will clear using my obdII reader. And again, we'll just check, see if that makes any difference. But I'm pretty sure if the fault had gone away, this would correct itself. But I might be wrong, so we'll be clearing them. And we're in. Right, let's put the ignition on. Scan. We'll look at the ABS. It's just doing that because the door's open, I think. Yeah, we've got that code. Lost communication with differential control module rear. Let's go clear fault memory. Succeeded to clear. Read fault code. Lost communication with body control module. Okay. Exit. Clear fault memory. Succeeded to clear. Exit. So, what I'll do now is turn the ignition off, disconnect, ignition on, reconnect, start, and we're still got the same selection of messages. See if they've come back instantly. Yep, they're back. So lost communication with differential control module rear. Body control module seems okay now. Yeah, so as I said, I think I'm going to give it a couple of days to see if anything self-corrects, and then we move to the next step. So, a bit of an odd one. I've now booked an appointment for a diagnostic session with our local independent Landrover specialist, Famous 4. So I'll let you know how we get on. soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.